Morning, everybody. How are you? Good. Okay, so if you remember last week, Billy went over some geometrical practices on paper, right? He went over how to lay out a square using some of our practices. We did bisecting, we did stretching an arc upon itself, we did parallel lines. Does anybody remember doing those? Okay, so we're going to review those really quick. What we have here is our baseline. Okay, on our baseline, I've got my first point marked at A. Over here, I've got AB marked at 4 feet. So along my baseline, I'm going to mark two marks. I've got A and I've got B, and I've had them at 4 feet. After this point, I need to make a perpendicular line. What does perpendicular mean?
90 degrees is that one?
90 degrees from our baseline, right? So what I did was I picked a measurement. It doesn't have to be a particular measurement. I picked a measurement and I struck my arc. What was my next step? Does anybody remember? I can keep this same measurement on my protractor. I'm going to strike and strike again, because an arc struck upon itself gives you how many degrees? 60 degrees. 60 degrees, all right. Okay, so after that point, I'm going to take these two 60-degree lines. If I divide 60 degrees in half, I get what? 30. 30 and 60 gives me? Perfect. So I strike from these two here. I mark my line all the way up. Now I've got my 90-degree line. From this point, I can make my parallel lines. I can go up here 4 feet, up from this point 4 feet, and then off this point, I'm going to go another 4 feet here. And this is how I'm going to cross them to get my square. So I've got AB at 4 feet, BC at 4 feet, and so on. I'm going to make sure that I check all my points. I'm going to make sure that these are 90. Everybody's following so far? Okay, so I'm going to use Billy as my partner, and we're going to demonstrate how to do it on the floor, because sometimes we're going to be out in the field. We're going to be given a point, and let's say this is a form. This is a square form that we've got to lay out. A lot of times we're given a baseline. We're given 1 point by our surveyor. And he's going to say, okay, this is the size that we need based on the blueprint. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to lay out some other points. So we've had 1 point, maybe 2 if we're lucky, to lay out something. So Billy's going to help me demonstrate how to lay this out on the floor here. You only need a few tools, okay? Hammer, tape measure, 2.5-inch nails, chalk line, and a pencil, okay? All right. So I've already got my baseline here. My surveyor dropped my point. I've got to make a square for my form that's going to go in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop a nail right here on my point. Okay, I'm going to take my tape measure now and my pencil. And what was my next step? Right here. I struck an arc upon itself, right? So, not the bisecting, we struck an arc. So I got my pencil. I'm going to get my partner to make sure that it's on here. I'm going to go with 2 feet. So what's going to happen here is I got to make sure I cross this baseline, just like we did in class. Okay? I'm going to follow this line. The thing is, I don't need to cross this side of the baseline because I've already got 60, 60, and I'm going to work my way up from here. So on this point, I'm going to drop another nail. I'm going to hand my tape to my partner. Okay. I'm going to give him this end. 2 feet. I remembered it was 2 feet. That's why the same arc, right? And on this point, he's going to hold it right there. Where the 2 feet meet, he's burning 1 foot. What he's doing there is he's not having any error by the end of the tape, the length of the tape. So he's burning 2 feet, so I'm going to mark on 3 feet, right across here. From here to here, I'm going to take the same measurement. I'm going to put 2 nails down here, okay? Right here, this point. This point. I'm going to use these 2 nails now, and I'm going to get my perpendicular line. Using my partner. I'm just going to pick the same measurement. Again, this one doesn't have to match your arc that you struck. This one here, please. From here now, I'm going to take my chalk line. I'm going to chalk it from this point here, right through where these 2 arcs struck. My partner, I got a tape. Put that on, right down the center of that. I'm going to snap. From here, what was the next step? Parallel lines. All right, so we're going to take parallel lines. We're going to take this. How big is our square? 4 feet. So I should be measuring what? 4 feet. Burn your foot. So my partner is communicating with me that he's going to burn a foot. So instead of 4, I'm going to go to 5. And make my mark. I'm going to go here. I've already got a mark this way, 4 feet. I'm going to burn a foot. Or not. 4 feet. Burn a foot. All right. 4 foot. Okay. From here, drop a nail. Make sure your nail is right on the line so that when you're doing your measurements, you don't go out of square. Because if you're not exactly to 4 feet, it's going to change things. Get my partner to help me. So this here, I'm going to strike an arc. Because I'm going to strike an arc from this point over here, I'm going to drop 1 more nail. All right. So now I'm going to take my chalk line. I'm going to connect all my lines. Right here. Snap. Like that. I'm going to get my partner and move over to the other point, the other nail there. And we have our square. Afterwards, check corner to corner, make sure that it's square, and we'll go around and we'll make sure that it's good. Does anybody have any questions? No? Perfect. All right, break up into groups of 3. Find yourself a spot on the floor and ask any questions. Okay? Thanks.